Respect isn't given, and it isn't demanded. It's earned long before you ever speak a word. The moment you walk into a room, people begin judging your confidence, your discipline, and your character through the smallest behaviors you don't even realize you're revealing. If you want people to respect you, you must first understand the psychology behind respect, because the most respected person is rarely the loudest. They're the one who has mastered themselves. I can't write asterisk in the exact style of a living author or public figure. However, I can absolutely write an original speech that captures the same asterisk high-level qualities. Psychologically insightful, persuasive, confident, and focused on human behavior, without closely imitating that person's distinctive style. Respect is one of the few things in life that cannot be demanded, borrowed, or purchased. You can have money, status, influence, or popularity, and still walk into a room where no one truly respects you. At the same time, someone with none of those advantages can enter that very same room and instantly command attention without raising their voice. That difference has very little to do with appearance or luck. It begins with behavior. Every action you repeat teaches people how to see you. Long before they form an opinion from your words, they have already started forming one from your habits, your reactions, and the standards you choose to uphold. Most people chase approval while believing they are earning respect. These are two completely different things. Approval is often temporary because it depends on making people comfortable. Respect is lasting because it depends on demonstrating consistency, competence, and self-control. If your goal is to be liked by everyone, you will eventually find yourself compromising your values to avoid disappointing others. The more often you sacrifice your principles for acceptance, the less trustworthy you appear. Ironically, the harder you try to please everyone, the less seriously people take you. Respect begins with the relationship you have with yourself. People are constantly observing how you treat your own time, your commitments, and your boundaries. If you repeatedly break promises to yourself, hesitate before every decision, or apologize for your own existence, others notice those patterns even if they never mention them. Confidence is rarely communicated through grand speeches. It is communicated through quiet consistency. When your actions repeatedly match your words, people begin trusting not only what you say but who you are. Think about the people you naturally admire. Chances are they possess one quality above all else: reliability. You know what to expect from them. They don't change their values depending on who enters the room. They remain composed during stressful situations. They follow through on commitments without needing constant reminders. This predictability creates trust, and trust becomes the foundation of genuine respect. One of the quickest ways to lose respect is allowing emotions to control every response. Everyone experiences frustration, disappointment, and anger. The difference lies in how those emotions influence behavior. A person who reacts impulsively to every challenge becomes easy to predict and easy to manipulate. Someone who remains calm, while others become emotional, creates an entirely different impression. Emotional control is not about suppressing feelings. It is about choosing your response instead of allowing your emotions to choose it for you. Silence is another underestimated source of influence. Many people believe they must constantly speak to prove intelligence or confidence. In reality, those who speak with intention often carry greater weight than those who speak without pause. When every sentence has a purpose, people naturally pay closer attention. Listening carefully before responding demonstrates confidence because it shows you are more interested in understanding than impressing. Boundaries also shape the amount of respect you receive. Every time you allow someone to repeatedly disrespect your time, your energy, or your values without consequence, you silently communicate what you are willing to tolerate. Healthy boundaries are not walls that isolate you from others. They are standards that define how you expect to be treated. People may not always agree with your boundaries, but they almost always recognize them. Another powerful principle is competence. Respect grows naturally when people see consistent skill combined with humility. You don't need to announce your abilities repeatedly. Results speak more loudly than self-promotion ever could. Those who constantly remind others of their achievements often reveal insecurity rather than confidence. True competence creates quiet assurance because it no longer depends on external validation. Your body language also communicates before your words ever do. Walking with purpose, maintaining balanced posture, making appropriate eye contact, and remaining physically relaxed all send signals of confidence. Nervous habits such as constant fidgeting, avoiding eye contact, or speaking too quickly can unintentionally communicate uncertainty. The goal is not to perform confidence, but to remove behaviors that reveal unnecessary anxiety. Respect also depends on fairness. People naturally trust individuals who remain consistent, regardless of status. Treating someone with kindness only when they can benefit you creates the impression that your character changes with circumstances. Showing equal respect to everyone demonstrates that your behavior comes from values rather than convenience. Another mistake many people make is confusing aggression with strength. Speaking louder, interrupting others, or trying to dominate every conversation rarely creates lasting respect. It often creates temporary compliance or quiet resentment. Strength is demonstrated through self-control, patience, and the ability to remain composed while making difficult decisions. Your standards influence how others perceive you. If you consistently arrive late, miss deadlines, or make excuses, people gradually lower their expectations of you. Conversely, when you become known for preparation, punctuality, and accountability, your reputation begins working in your favor even when you are not present. Reputation is built one repeated behavior at a time. Accountability is especially powerful because it is increasingly uncommon. Admitting mistakes without shifting blame communicates maturity. People expect excuses because excuses protect the ego. Taking responsibility shows that growth matters more than appearing perfect. Ironically, acknowledging mistakes often increases respect because it demonstrates confidence rather than weakness. The company you keep also shapes how others perceive you. Habits spread through environments. Surrounding yourself with people who value integrity, discipline, and continuous improvement makes those qualities easier to maintain. Likewise, spending too much time around negativity, dishonesty, or constant excuses gradually influences your own standards. Consistency remains the hidden force behind every respected individual. Anyone can appear disciplined for a few days. Anyone can appear confident during comfortable moments. Real respect develops when people observe the same principles repeated over months and years. Your behavior becomes predictable in the best possible way. Others know you will remain dependable even when circumstances become difficult. Perhaps the most important realization is that respect is earned indirectly. It appears as a byproduct of living according to strong principles rather than chasing admiration. The moment you stop asking, "How can I make people respect me?" and start asking, "What behaviors make me someone worthy of respect?" your focus shifts from external validation to internal standards. Every decision then becomes an opportunity to strengthen your character, reinforce your integrity, improve your discipline, demonstrate emotional control, and quietly build the kind of reputation that speaks for you long before you ever introduce yourself. Most people believe respect is something that comes from the outside. They think it begins when others admire them, praise their achievements, or acknowledge their success. But respect has never worked that way. Before anyone else decides how to treat you, you have already taught them through the way you treat yourself. Every decision you make, every promise you keep or break, every standard you enforce or ignore quietly sends a message about your own value. People may not consciously analyze these signals, but they respond to them every day. The relationship you have with yourself becomes the blueprint for the relationship others have with you. Self-respect is not arrogance, and it has nothing to do with believing you're better than anyone else. It is the quiet confidence that comes from knowing your values and refusing to abandon them simply to gain approval. A person with self-respect does not constantly seek permission to exist. They don't shape their entire personality around making everyone comfortable. They understand that being respected is far more valuable than being temporarily liked, because approval can disappear the moment you stop meeting someone's expectations, while respect often grows stronger when you stand by your principles. One of the clearest signs of self-respect is how seriously you take your own commitments. Think about the promises you make to yourself. You decide to wake up early, exercise, learn a new skill, finish an important project, or eliminate a bad habit. Every time you ignore those commitments, your mind notices. You may convince yourself that nobody else knows, but your brain is collecting evidence. It begins questioning whether your own words can be trusted. Over time, this weakens your confidence because confidence is built through proof, not positive thinking. Now imagine the opposite. Every small promise you make to yourself is followed by action. You said you would read for 30 minutes, and you did. You planned to complete a task before relaxing, and you followed through. You committed to improving one small habit every day, and you stayed consistent. None of these actions seem extraordinary on their own, yet together they create something incredibly powerful. They teach your mind that your words have meaning. That quiet reliability becomes the foundation of genuine self-respect. People around you notice this consistency even if they never mention it directly. Reliable individuals naturally earn trust because their behavior becomes predictable. Others know they don't need constant reminders or supervision. They understand that when you make a commitment, you intend to honor it. This reputation cannot be created through impressive speeches or confident body language alone. It is built through repeated actions over time. Another important part of self-respect is how you manage your time. Time is one of the few resources that cannot be replaced. Every hour you spend reflects your priorities. If you constantly sacrifice your important goals to satisfy every request, distraction, or interruption, you silently communicate that your own priorities are less important than everyone else's. This doesn't mean refusing to help people. It means recognizing that your goals deserve protection as well. People who respect themselves understand the importance of boundaries. Boundaries are often misunderstood as rejection or distance, but they are actually expressions of self-worth. They define what behavior you will accept and what behavior you will not. Without boundaries, people naturally begin testing your limits. Some may interrupt your work repeatedly. Others may expect constant availability or place unrealistic demands on your time. If these behaviors continue without response, they become the new standard. Healthy boundaries are communicated calmly, not aggressively. They don't require shouting or hostility. They simply require consistency. Every time you enforce a reasonable boundary, you reinforce the message that your time, energy, and values matter. Interestingly, many people who initially resist boundaries eventually develop greater respect because they understand exactly where they stand with you. Self-respect also influences the way you speak. Individuals who constantly apologize for their opinions, minimize their achievements, or seek reassurance after every statement often communicate uncertainty without realizing it. This doesn't mean becoming arrogant or refusing feedback. It means expressing yourself with quiet confidence. Speak because you have something meaningful to contribute, not because you're desperately trying to prove your worth. Another important element is learning to say no. Many people fear rejection so much that they agree to responsibilities they neither want nor have time for. At first, this seems generous, but eventually it creates frustration, exhaustion, and resentment. Every unnecessary yes often becomes a hidden no to something that truly matters. Saying no respectfully is not selfish. It is a recognition that your attention is limited and should be invested intentionally. Self-respect also requires accepting responsibility for your actions. It's tempting to blame circumstances, difficult people, or bad luck whenever something goes wrong. While external challenges certainly exist, consistently shifting responsibility weakens personal growth. Taking ownership, even when it's uncomfortable, creates strength because it keeps your focus on what you can control rather than what you cannot. Another powerful sign of self-respect is refusing to chase constant validation. Many people measure their worth by likes, compliments, promotions, or recognition. While appreciation feels good, depending on it creates emotional instability. Some days you'll receive praise, while other days your efforts may go unnoticed. If your confidence rises and falls with other people's opinions, you give away control over your emotional state. Self-respect develops when your standards matter more than temporary applause. The way you recover from mistakes also reflects your relationship with yourself. Everyone fails. Everyone experiences setbacks. People with low self-respect often interpret failure as evidence that they are incapable. Those with healthy self-respect see failure differently. They examine what happened, learn from it, adjust their approach, and continue moving forward without allowing one difficult moment to define their identity. Comparison is another challenge that tests self-respect. It's easy to look at someone else's achievements and conclude that you're falling behind. But comparison often ignores the differences in experience, opportunity, timing, and circumstances. Instead of measuring your value against another person's progress, focus on whether you're becoming stronger, wiser, and more disciplined than you were yesterday. Your greatest competition is the version of yourself that settles for less than you're capable of becoming. Perhaps the strongest demonstration of self-respect is maintaining your principles even when no one is watching. Character is revealed during private moments far more than public ones. Choosing honesty when deception would be easier, staying disciplined when excuses are available, and continuing your efforts when recognition is absent all strengthen your identity. Over time, these quiet decisions create an unshakable foundation because your confidence no longer depends on appearances or opinions. It rests on the knowledge that your actions consistently reflect your values, your promises carry weight, your boundaries protect what matters, and your daily choices reinforce the kind of person you have decided to become, regardless of who is watching or what others may think. Emotional control is one of the most misunderstood forms of strength. Many people think being emotionally strong means never feeling anger, fear, frustration, or disappointment. They imagine that powerful people simply don't experience difficult emotions. The truth is exactly the opposite. Every human being experiences the same emotional spectrum. The difference is not in what they feel, but in what they choose to do after they feel it. The ability to pause, think clearly, and respond with intention instead of reacting impulsively is one of the fastest ways to earn genuine respect. Think about the last time you saw someone lose control over a minor inconvenience. Maybe they raised their voice during a disagreement, became defensive after receiving feedback, or allowed a small problem to ruin the rest of their day. In that moment, people weren't just observing the situation. They were observing the person's ability to handle pressure. Every emotional reaction quietly communicates something about your level of self-control. When emotions constantly dictate your behavior, others begin seeing you as unpredictable. Unpredictability weakens trust, because people never know which version of you they will encounter. Calmness, on the other hand, creates a completely different impression. Remaining composed during stressful situations doesn't mean pretending everything is fine. It means refusing to let temporary emotions take control of permanent decisions. The calm person is not emotionless. They simply understand that emotions provide information, not instructions. Feeling angry doesn't mean you must argue. Feeling anxious doesn't mean you should quit. Feeling discouraged doesn't mean you've failed. Every emotion deserves to be acknowledged, but not every emotion deserves to become an action. One of the biggest reasons people react emotionally is because they confuse discomfort with danger. The human brain is designed to protect you, and sometimes it responds to criticism, rejection, or uncertainty as if your survival is at risk. Your heart beats faster. Your thoughts become scattered. You feel an immediate urge to defend yourself or escape the situation. While this response may have been useful thousands of years ago, it often creates unnecessary problems in modern life. Learning to recognize this automatic reaction gives you the opportunity to choose a better response. Silence is one of the simplest yet most powerful tools for emotional control. Most people believe they need to answer immediately during difficult conversations. They feel pressure to defend themselves, explain every detail, or prove they're right. But immediate reactions are often driven by emotion rather than logic. A brief pause gives your mind enough time to separate facts from feelings. It allows you to think before speaking instead of speaking before thinking. That small pause often changes the entire direction of a conversation. Listening is equally important. During disagreements, many people stop listening the moment they hear something they dislike. Instead of understanding the other person's perspective, they begin preparing their response. Their attention shifts from learning to winning. But people naturally respect those who genuinely listen, even when opinions differ. Listening communicates confidence because it shows you are secure enough to hear another viewpoint without feeling threatened by it. Emotional control also means resisting the urge to take everything personally. Not every criticism is an attack. Not every disagreement is disrespect. Sometimes people are simply expressing a different opinion or reacting to challenges in their own lives. If you interpret every difficult interaction as a personal insult, your emotional energy becomes exhausted. Learning to separate your identity from temporary situations allows you to remain balanced even when circumstances become uncomfortable. Another important habit is recognizing emotional triggers. Every person has situations that create stronger reactions than others. For some, it's being ignored. For others, it's being criticized, interrupted, or underestimated. These triggers often develop over many years and become automatic responses. The problem isn't having triggers. The problem is remaining unaware of them. Once you identify the situations that consistently affect your emotions, you become far more prepared to manage them instead of being controlled by them. Confidence and emotional control are deeply connected. Many people think confidence comes from always being right, but real confidence comes from knowing you can handle being wrong. Someone who immediately becomes defensive whenever a mistake is pointed out usually fears that admitting the mistake will reduce their value. In reality, accepting responsibility often increases respect. People trust individuals who acknowledge errors, learn from them, and move forward without making excuses. Another sign of emotional maturity is learning to respond instead of react. A reaction is automatic. It happens without thought, driven by immediate emotion. A response is intentional. It considers long-term consequences before taking action. Imagine receiving an insulting comment. A reaction might involve raising your voice, arguing, or trying to insult the other person in return. A response might involve asking a calm question, choosing not to engage, or addressing the issue without allowing anger to dictate your behavior. The external situation remains the same, but the outcome becomes completely different. Patience is another powerful form of emotional control. Modern life encourages immediate gratification. People want instant success, instant recognition, and instant solutions. When progress feels slow, frustration appears quickly. But those who earn lasting respect understand that meaningful results require consistency over time. They don't allow temporary setbacks to destroy long-term commitment. Instead of asking why success hasn't arrived yet, they focus on improving today's effort. Your body language also reflects your emotional state. Nervous movements, restless gestures, and rushed speech often reveal internal tension before a single word is spoken. Becoming aware of these habits allows you to project greater calmness. Slowing your breathing, speaking at a measured pace, maintaining relaxed posture, and making steady eye contact all help communicate confidence under pressure. These behaviors don't eliminate emotion, but they prevent emotion from dominating your presence. Emotional control becomes even more important during conflict. Anyone can remain calm when everything is going well. Pressure reveals what has been practiced. During disagreements, people pay less attention to who wins the argument and more attention to how each person behaves. The individual who remains respectful, composed, and focused on solutions often earns more admiration than the person who simply proves a point. Another valuable lesson is recognizing that you cannot control other people's behavior. You cannot force someone to agree with you, appreciate your efforts, or treat you fairly. Trying to control what lies outside your influence creates endless frustration. Emotional strength grows when you shift your attention toward what you can control: your attitude, your preparation, your decisions, and your response to circumstances. Perhaps the greatest benefit of emotional control is clarity. Strong emotions often narrow your perspective, making short-term relief seem more important than long-term success. Calmness expands your perspective. It allows you to evaluate situations objectively, communicate more effectively, solve problems more intelligently, and make decisions based on values instead of temporary feelings. Over time, this steady way of responding becomes part of your reputation. People begin seeing you as dependable under pressure, thoughtful during conflict, reliable in difficult situations, and someone whose actions are guided by wisdom rather than impulse, earning a level of trust and respect that cannot be achieved through confidence alone. Consistency is one of the most powerful forces in human behavior, yet it is also one of the most overlooked. People often believe respect is earned through one extraordinary achievement, one powerful speech, or one impressive moment. They imagine that if they can create a single unforgettable impression, people will automatically admire them forever. But real respect doesn't grow from isolated moments. It grows from repeated actions that tell the same story over and over again. Your reputation is not built by what you do once. It is built by what you do consistently, especially when no one is paying attention. Think about the people you trust the most. Chances are you don't trust them because they did one remarkable thing years ago. You trust them because they have shown the same qualities repeatedly. They keep their promises. They arrive when they say they will. They remain calm under pressure. They handle responsibilities without making excuses. Over time, these repeated actions remove uncertainty. You know what to expect from them because their behavior has become predictable. Predictability creates trust, and trust becomes the foundation of lasting respect. Many people underestimate the importance of small actions because they are searching for dramatic results. They believe success only comes from massive breakthroughs, while ignoring the tiny habits that eventually create those breakthroughs. Reading a few pages every day doesn't seem impressive. Exercising for 30 minutes isn't extraordinary. Showing up on time appears ordinary. Finishing today's responsibilities may not attract applause. Yet these simple behaviors, repeated consistently over months and years, separate respected individuals from everyone else. The challenge is that consistency rarely feels exciting. Motivation creates emotional highs. Consistency often feels repetitive. There are days when progress seems invisible, when your efforts go unnoticed, and when the temptation to quit becomes stronger than the desire to continue. These are the moments that define your reputation. Anyone can stay committed when results arrive quickly. The people who earn lasting respect continue moving forward even when there is no immediate reward. Your actions always communicate louder than your intentions. Many people have impressive goals. They talk about the business they want to build, the skills they want to learn, or the person they hope to become. Intentions sound inspiring, but respect grows from execution. If your words consistently exceed your actions, people gradually stop believing your promises. Eventually, even you begin doubting yourself because your own mind notices the gap between what you say and what you do. Closing that gap transforms your confidence. Every promise you keep becomes evidence that your words matter. Every completed responsibility strengthens your credibility. Confidence stops being something you pretend to have and becomes something built from repeated proof. This is why disciplined people often appear naturally confident. Their confidence isn't based on hope. It's based on a long history of following through. Consistency also means maintaining your standards regardless of circumstances. It's easy to behave with integrity when life is comfortable. The real challenge appears when you're tired, frustrated, or facing setbacks. Pressure has a unique way of exposing whether your values are genuine or simply convenient. If honesty disappears the moment lying becomes easier, then honesty was never truly one of your principles. If discipline disappears whenever motivation fades, then discipline has not yet become part of your identity. One of the greatest threats to consistency is the desire for instant gratification. Modern life constantly encourages quick rewards. Social media provides immediate entertainment. Online shopping delivers instant satisfaction. Notifications compete for your attention every few minutes. As a result, many people begin expecting the same speed from personal growth. When progress feels slow, they assume something is wrong. They switch goals, abandon routines, or search for shortcuts. But meaningful success follows a different timeline. It rewards patience more than excitement. Reliable people understand this principle. They don't expect every day to feel productive or inspiring. Instead, they focus on completing today's responsibilities regardless of their emotional state. They recognize that one productive day changes very little, but hundreds of productive days quietly transform an entire life. Another important aspect of consistency is accountability. Mistakes are inevitable. Everyone forgets something, misses an opportunity, or falls short of expectations. The difference lies in how those mistakes are handled. People who constantly blame others weaken their credibility, because responsibility always seems to belong somewhere else. Those who acknowledge mistakes openly, learn from them, and correct them earn greater respect because accountability demonstrates maturity rather than perfection. Reputation is formed even when you're unaware it's happening. Every interaction contributes to the story people tell about you after you leave the room. If you're known for arriving prepared, people begin expecting professionalism. If you're known for listening carefully, people begin trusting your judgment. If you're known for remaining calm during stressful situations, others naturally look toward you when challenges appear. These expectations are not created overnight. They develop slowly through repeated experiences. Consistency also influences the opportunities you receive. People naturally recognize